What if I told you the most legendary muscle car in America didn't start with speed, but with a dream? From secret boardroom battles to Hollywood fame, from gas-guzzling beasts to electric thunder, this is the untamed ride that shaped generations. Welcome to the full history of the Ford Mustang. Buckle up. It's about to get loud. What if I told you the most iconic American muscle car was born not out of horsepower or speed, but from fear? In the early 1960s, Ford Motor Company was in trouble. Their cars were solid, but boring. Young people, fresh out of college, armed with ambition and addicted to freedom, didn't want the same cars their parents drove. They wanted excitement, style, identity, and Ford had none of that. Enter a man named Lee Iacocca, a marketing genius with a fire in his gut and a vision that went against every boring boardroom chart. He knew something radical had to happen. He dreamed of a car that was fast, affordable, stylish, and cool enough to turn heads at every street corner. A car that could speak directly to the youth of America, a generation raised on rock and roll and rebellious dreams. Ford's executives weren't convinced. "We don't need a sports car," they said. But Iacocca pushed back hard. He assembled a secret team to create something bold, and they gave it a code name, Project Mustang. Why Mustang? Because the wild horse represented exactly what this new car needed to be: free, fast, and untamed. They didn't have a huge budget, so they borrowed parts from other Ford cars, cut costs where they could, and aimed for one goal: make the car look like $1 million, but sell it for under $2,500. No one at Ford realized they weren't just building a car. They were about to build a movement. This wasn't just about metal and motors. This was about freedom, about giving every young American the keys to their own identity. And in April 1964, that wild horse would be unleashed on the world. But before it took the spotlight, before it stormed the showrooms, there was this quiet moment, a dream, a plan, a risky bet, and one of the boldest moves in automotive history was about to begin. Want to know what happened next? Buckle up, because the Mustang story is only just getting started. April 17th, 1964. The New York World's Fair buzzed with innovation, but one exhibit stopped people in their tracks. Under the bright lights stood a sleek, long-hooded machine with chrome accents and a galloping horse badge. It was the Ford Mustang, and in just one day, over 22,000 people rushed to buy it. It was unlike anything America had seen, and it hit like a lightning bolt. Ford dealers were overwhelmed. Crowds lined up, some even sleeping outside showrooms. One man reportedly slept in a Mustang overnight so no one else could buy it. The hype wasn't an accident, it was marketing genius. Ford launched TV ads during all 3 major networks at the same time, a move never done before. The Mustang wasn't just a car, it was a statement. 4.5 model wasn't powerful by today's standards, but it didn't need to be. Buyers could choose a straight-six engine or a small V8. What mattered was the style. The long hood, the short rear deck, the optional rally pack gauges. It looked fast just standing still. It looked expensive, but wasn't. And suddenly, anyone, even a college student, could own a car that made them feel like James Bond. By the end of its first year, Ford had sold over 400,000 Mustangs. A year later, that number passed 1 million. The Mustang had created an entirely new segment, the pony car, a small, affordable sports coupe with attitude. The world was watching. So were competitors, but Mustang had just stolen the show, and America had found its new favorite ride. Just when it seemed the Mustang couldn't get any cooler, Along came Carroll Shelby, a former race car driver turned tuner. Shelby took the Mustang's soul and lit it on fire. His 1965 GT 350 was loud, light, and lethal. Painted white with blue stripes, it looked like it was born on a racetrack. And it was. Shelby's Mustang wasn't built for comfort. It was built to win. No back seats, stiff suspension, side exhausts. It roared like a beast and moved like one too. Ford's image suddenly shifted from youthful fun to serious performance. And the public couldn't get enough. But Ford wasn't stopping there. The Boss 302, Boss 429, and the Mach-E stormed onto the scene, each more powerful and aggressive than the last. Big block V8s, hood scoops, rear spoilers. These weren't just cars, they were weapons. Mustangs. Hollywood took notice. In 1968, Steve McQueen famously tore through San Francisco streets in a Highland green Mustang fastback in Bullitt. That one scene became legendary, and the Mustang became a movie star. By the late 60s, the Mustang had grown in size, in power, and in attitude. It was a car that could be anything. A cruiser, a racer, a symbol. But with muscle wars heating up and government regulations around the corner, a storm was brewing. The Mustang was flying high, but even legends have to face reality. No one dominates the stage forever. By 1967, the Mustang had company and serious competition. Chevrolet fired back with the Camaro, followed quickly by the Pontiac Firebird, Dodge Challenger, and Plymouth Barracuda. The muscle car wars were in full swing. Every rival brought bigger engines, louder colors, and more horsepower. Suddenly, it wasn't just about looking cool. It was about going fast. Ford had to respond. The Mustang got bigger, beefier, and more aggressive. The 428 Cobra Jet engine arrived with drag strip fury, and high-performance trims like the Mach-E and Boss 429 aimed to keep Mustang at the top. But there was a cost. The once sleek, compact pony car had bulked up. Critics began to say the Mustang had lost its original charm. Sales dipped. The design was powerful, but no longer playful. Behind the scenes, Ford was torn. Should the Mustang be a full muscle car, or stay true to its original lightweight roots? They tried to be both, and in doing so, the identity started to blur. By 1970, the muscle car world was spinning fast and crashing hard. Insurance rates were rising, emissions laws were tightening, and gas prices were creeping up. A revolution was coming, and it wouldn't favor V8s. The Mustang had survived rivals, but its biggest challenge wasn't from another brand. It was from a changing world. It was 1973, and America's highways were suddenly quiet. The oil crisis had hit like a hammer. Gas lines wrapped around blocks, and muscle cars became gas-guzzling villains overnight. The once mighty V8 had become a liability. Ford had to act fast, or risk letting the Mustang die. So they made a radical move. They shrunk it. Enter the Mustang II, released in 1974. It was smaller, lighter, and, shockingly, built on the same platform as the Pinto. No V8 at first, no thunder, no glory. Fans were outraged. This wasn't the Mustang they remembered. Where was the power? The roar? But here's the twist. The Mustang II sold well, very well. Nearly 400,000 units in its first year. While gearheads mocked it, regular buyers, especially young professionals and women, loved it. It was stylish, easy to drive, and fuel efficient for the times. It even won Motor Trend's Car of the Year. Ford had chosen survival over swagger. The Mustang had adapted to the times, even if it meant sacrificing its wild side. Still, beneath the surface, the pony was restless. Enthusiasts kept the flame alive, begging Ford to bring back the real deal. And in the shadows of Detroit, something was already brewing. A comeback that would reignite the Mustang's soul. But first, the 70s had to end. The disco decade gave the Mustang its strangest chapter. But the next one? It would start with fire. By 1979, Ford was ready to try again. They introduced a new platform called the Fox Body, and it gave birth to a Mustang that was leaner, sharper, and full of potential. It didn't look like the Mustangs of old, but it carried something familiar: attitude. The Fox Body Mustang became the tuner's dream. It was cheap, lightweight, and easy to modify. Suddenly, the streets were alive with boosted Mustangs, their V8s screaming through the night. The 5.0-liter engine, 5.0 to the streets, became a legend. Drag racers loved it. Street racers worshipped it. Ford fans felt alive again. The Mustang was back in the hands of the people, not just the showrooms. It didn't need flashy designs or chrome, just raw speed and the potential to outrun anything in its class. From 1982's GT is back to the LX 5.0 notchbacks, the Fox Body built a cult following. It wasn't about luxury. It wasn't even about refinement. It was about freedom on four wheels, just like the original Mustang had promised. By the late 80s, the Mustang had become a cultural icon again, featured in rap videos, car magazines, and underground races. It wasn't always respected by purists, but for a new generation, it was their hero. The Mustang had survived downsizing and disapproval. Now, it was riding a second wave of rebellion, and Ford was just getting warmed up. In the early 90s, Ford's special vehicle team, SVT, was unleashed. Their mission? To give the Mustang its fangs back. And in 1993, they did just that with the debut of the SVT Cobra. This wasn't just a faster Mustang. It was smarter, tighter, more refined. Powered by a 235 horsepower 5.0 V8, the Cobra marked the beginning of a new era. It had improved suspension, better handling, and aggressive styling. It looked like a street fighter and moved like one too. But SVT wasn't done. In 1995, they dropped the Cobra R, a stripped-down, race-focused beast with no backseat, no AC, and a 300 horsepower 5.8-liter engine under the hood. It was Ford's way of saying, "We haven't forgotten how to build monsters." By 1999, the Mustang got a new look. Sharper lines, bolder curves, and a futuristic edge. The new edge design gave the Mustang a modern face while keeping its rebel heart. Then came the 2003 Cobra Terminator. Supercharged, 390 horsepower, nicknamed the Terminator by its own engineers, because it could crush almost anything on the street. This car was no joke. It made gearheads' jaws drop, and the Mustang badge shine again. SVT had done something incredible. They'd brought respect back to the Mustang, not through nostalgia, but through raw, engineered power. The legend wasn't just alive, it was lethal. By the early 2000s, the Mustang had gone through nearly every phase: icon, survivor, street hero, and even punchline. But Ford had one more trick up its sleeve. Go back to the beginning. In 2005, they launched a new Mustang that looked like it had driven straight out of the 1960s. This was the retro revival, a bold move that paid off big. With its round headlights, wide grille, and fastback silhouette, the 2005 Mustang looked like the reincarnation of the '67 model. But under the skin, it was all new. Tight chassis, improved safety, and modern electronics. The base model had 210 horsepower, while the GT's 4.6-liter V8 pushed 300 horses. And just like the original Mustang, it was affordable, customizable, and dripping with personality. People went wild. Suddenly, a whole new generation of drivers felt that original Mustang magic. Hollywood helped too. In 2005's War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise outruns aliens in a new Mustang. And in 2008, the Bullet Mustang returned, in sleek Highland green, with a growl that could raise goosebumps. Ford had successfully blended heritage with modern engineering, creating a Mustang that spoke to both the past and future. And this time, the whole world was watching. As the muscle car market heated up again, the Mustang led the charge. Not just as a car, but as a living legend, reborn for the 21st century. As smartphones got smarter, so did the Mustang. From 2010 to 2014, it morphed into a modern muscle machine. Sleeker, sharper, and loaded with tech. HID headlights, touchscreen navigation, voice-activated sync. It was a leap into the digital era without losing its growl. The real magic? Under the hood. In 2011, the GT got the legendary 5.0 Coyote V8 with 412 horsepower. Even the V6 surprised with 305 horsepower and solid fuel efficiency. Then came the big hitters. The Boss 302 returned in 2012, tuned for track days, and the 2013 Shelby GT 500, a 662 horsepower supercharged monster that hit 200 miles per hour. These weren't just fast cars. They were smart and street-ready. Ford proved that muscle could grow up without losing its edge. The Mustang wasn't just surviving, it was leading, charging full throttle into a new era of performance and precision. In 2015, the Mustang took its boldest leap yet, going global. For 50 years, it had been America's sweetheart. But the 6th-gen Mustang was built for the world. Right-hand drive, sleek design, independent rear suspension. It was finally ready for twisty European roads. Buyers could choose between the brawny 5.0 V8, a turbocharged 2.3-liter EcoBoost, or a practical V6. From California to Germany, Sydney to Shanghai, the Mustang found new fans fast. It became the world's best-selling sports coupe, breaking borders and expectations. Yet, it never lost its soul. The look, the feel, the roar. It was still unmistakably Mustang. Now it wasn't just America's muscle car. It was a global symbol of freedom and firepower, galloping across continents with the same rebel heart. Mach-E 2020 brought a shockwave, an electric SUV called the Mustang Mach-E. 4 doors, no gas engine, and still wearing the pony badge? Purists cried foul. But Ford wasn't looking back. They were chasing the future. The Mach-E had Mustang DNA, sleek design, tri-bar taillights, and instant torque. The GT version packed 480 horsepower and hit 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. It wasn't replacing the coupe. It was expanding the legacy. And it worked. Tech lovers, EV fans, and families all took notice. The Mach-E wasn't just a car. It was a statement. Mustang could evolve. Mustang could electrify. In a changing world, Ford proved the Mustang spirit wasn't trapped in the past. It was charging into the future, with silence, speed, and soul. In 2022, Ford lit the fuse on the 7th generation Mustang, proving they weren't done with V8s just yet. Amid rising EV noise, the Mustang still roared. Sleek lines, twin digital screens, sharper headlights. It looked modern, but felt classic. You could get the 2.3-liter EcoBoost or the 5.0-liter Coyote V8 with up to 500 horsepower in the all-new Dark Horse. And the flair. You could remote rev it with the key fob, because why not? The Dark Horse was the crown jewel, track-ready, menacing, and aggressive. It wasn't just a new model, it was a warning shot. Ford wasn't retiring the Rebel. They were giving it new weapons. The world may be going electric, but the Mustang? Still loud, still proud. For 6 decades, the Mustang has been more than a car. It's been a cultural mirror, reflecting rebellion, freedom, and fire. From McQueen's chase and Bullitt, to teens saving for their first GT, to families embracing the Mach-E, the Mustang connects generations. It's weathered oil crises, rivals, regulations, and reinventions. But it never stopped stirring the soul. It's not just design or power. It's the feeling. The grin when the engine growls. The thrill of the open road. Today's Mustang may have screens and sensors, but its heart still races. Because this isn't just a car from history. It is history. And it's still writing the next chapter.